Africa was already in the future before the world with mobile phones. We developed very custom ways of transaction on the continent. In the next 2 years, expect a boom in the industry, more consumption of local content. Every African movie is now going to have its T-shirt, its merchandise, its toys.
Hey, what's up, you people? It's Johanna, aka Jojo. I'm super excited today because I am with Eyram Tawia. So Eyram is the CEO of Leti Arts, a game studio based in Ghana. So Eyram, welcome.
Thank you, Johanna. Great to see you.
I'm happy to have you here. It was for months that I wanted to have you here. So I'm grateful for you to give you a little bit of your time. So we'll go right into it. Can you tell me about you, your journey, your studio, your project? Yeah, let's get into it.
Yes, thank you so much. And hi, everyone. My name is Eyram Tawia, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Leti Arts, which is one of Africa's, I think, first full-time game development studio in the sub-region, Sub-Saharan Africa. We started way back in 2009 with focus on preserving African culture through games and comics. So we do that effectively through storytelling to preserve the rich African culture. And that's the only way we believe that Africa can preserve its culture and present it to the 21st century reality or youngster of today. And we do that through superheroes. Everyone loves superheroes. So we have Africa's Legends, which is our main franchise. If you go to our website, you'll see that. And the whole thing is making meaningful games around these legends, right? And also comics around these legends. And these legends come from all over the African continent, from different countries, and they are loosely tied to historic figures and folkloric characters. Mm-hmm. So the universe is made up of heroes and villains. Villains are tied to issues. So we have villains behind child trafficking, religious wars, all these diseases and stuff like that. So we put them in this universe and have a franchise. Mm-hmm. And then we can now build the games and the comics around these story characters. So we have Chongo, Anansi, Mandela, like all these great Shaka Zulu historic figures presented in a superhero format in the near future Africa. Mm-hmm. And then we also, as Leti Arts, also do work with corporate organizations in terms of gamification. So we normally work with big NGOs, companies in health, civic education, disability initiatives, financial literacy, and educational games as well, because games bring a lot of benefit to the society. So that is what Leti Arts does. But my journey has been way back from childhood. So since I was born, if you ask all my friends that I grew up with, that's what is Eyram doing, they'll ask you, is he making games? In primary school, they'll ask you the same questions. Mm-hmm. In junior high school, they'll ask you, is he making games? Mm-hmm. In senior high school, they'll ask you, is he making games? And yours truly, fast forward to today, he is still making video games. So basically, this is me. I love video games and comics. Way back in junior high school, that's where I began programming. But from primary school, I was writing my stories. My dad was an art professor, so I forced him to do my illustrations for me because I wasn't too good at illustrating, though I could draw. And fast forward to junior high school, a friend of mine took up the drawings and I was writing my stories. Mm-hmm. Then I think in junior high school, grade, I think that's grade 12, I think, I got the interest in programming because I was playing Prince of Persia and all that. And I was wondering how the characters were thinking in these screens, I wanted to see Superman fly and stuff. So I wanted to see the comics that we drew. One of the comics was called Sort of Cycles. I actually wrote more of this in my book, Uncompromising Passion, the humble beginnings of an African video game industry. So you can read more about the journey. But that's how come I started programming, right? I started making video games for the comics that I drew because I wanted to see the comic characters on the screen. And fast forward to my university days, I took one of the stories, the same comic that got me interested in programming. I redid it as my final year project in the university, which is in ANUST in Kumasi here in Ghana. And that game was in 3D. It's called Sort of Cycles. We are actually documenting it for one of the very old game archives very soon. So you can see the source code and play it for yourself to see. So that game eventually has become like the first 3D game made from the sub-Saharan Africa. And that game actually competes with my co-founder's game, which is Adventures of Nyangi. And I made mine in 2006, he made it in 2007, but his is said to be the first. And that's how come we became, it's through a fight that we became friends. So we are still fighting that war till now. And that's how come I met my co-founder, Wesley. And we started Leti Arts. I met Wesley in 2006 over the fight. Then 2007, we tried making a game together. In 2009, we secured our seed investment to start Leti Arts on the continent. And 10 years more down the line, Leti Arts has blazed the trail, motivated more game companies to start on the continent, including anyone watching this fire chat. And we believe that, yes, you can do it. Games are the only industry that marries all skill sets. And we believe strongly that the untapped market in Africa, over 1 billion people, have a lot to contribute through video games. And I believe games is the only missing vacuum in Africa to catapult us to be at par with the West. It's going to solve unemployment because it marries every skill set. Lawyers, actors, programmers, extreme arts and extreme science coming together. A whole lot of opportunities are built out of it. So it's based on that belief that we live and breathe every day. And we really want to make a difference in Africa through storytelling and also a huge impact in both our educational institutions and also the economy of our countries.
That's great. That's great. Thank you very much for summarizing everything. I'd like to pick some of the things that you talk about. One of these is your personal journey and the personal journey of the Leti Art. What was the challenges throughout those 10 plus years that you encountered and that brought you where you are at now?
Yes, that's a really great question because I talked about it as if we just went like that. No, a whole lot of challenges. Imagine the first challenge is going to school and telling your parents that you want to make a game in Africa, where there's no market, no schools teach game development. They don't even know what a gamer means, a game design means. Everyone writes lawyers, doctor. There's no game developer as a title, right? So that alone. So mostly I break it down into 4 major challenges. The first challenge is the cultural mindset. We are working on potential market. There's no proven market. So it's potential market. So you know that in the West, the gaming industry is bigger than the movie and the music industry combined, right? And then you realize that Africa has 1 billion plus people and there's no industry making games. So you are like, wow, if this industry is huge outside, then it must be bigger in Africa and someone has to start. So that is how we started. So our tagline mostly has been, not only are we starting a company, we are starting a whole new industry in Africa, right? And in both an industry, it's a holistic thing. You are changing mindset, you are making impacts and all that. So the cultural mindset is very, very, very key. Then this trickles down into human resources. Because it's non-existent, we don't have the skill set on the continent. And we also have a tagline saying that using local expertise to make games that compete globally, meaning that we want to actually prove to the world that games can be made from Africa using local expertise. So we started heavily investing in talent. So we had internship opportunities where, though we are all self-taught game developers, we used our self-thinking methods to impact other people with interest, right? So we use internships to groom excellent programmers that we had, excellent artists that we had, to onboard them into the technicalities of game art, right? That is, so I'm saying the problem and the solution. So the problem was non-existent. The solution we devised was the internship and training and all that, which is growing very fast. Then when you bring that aspect, those two away, then it comes to the technical aspect, which is mostly infrastructure.
Yeah.
We don't have internet. Like there's the internet coverage is growing, but the speed is very terrible, right? So internet is a challenge. Devices are also a challenge. You could realize that the opportunity for Africa is that Africa jumped over the regime of laptops, desktops, straight into mobile phones. So that is a good opportunity. Almost everyone has a mobile phone here in Africa. But those phones run on internet and they have to, and their capacity is also not as strong. So the challenge in making games at that level, leveraging the internet, is also an issue. Then there's an issue of payment, even the know-how, the high level of illiteracy on the continent is also very daunting, because people have the phones, but they don't even know how to read or type, right? Let alone make you want to make a game for them. I remember, let me just say this story. We made a game with one organization. We went to a remote village and made an announcement on radio in that village that they should come for field testing. They should come and do field beta testing of the game. It was a sexual reproductive game. The next day, people came for the beta test in soccer boots and soccer football. Because they had field testing, they thought it was a soccer game, gameplay, right? So we had to now tell them, no, the field testing means we want to beta test the game on your phone. They're like, oh, okay. So all these might sound funny now, but these are the real challenges on the ground, right?
Yeah.
And our work is transforming mindset as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
Once we educated them, they were able to play the game, give us feedback, and all that. So these are all, infrastructure is also a major challenge. And the last bit is the distribution. Distribution is also an issue. I've not said funding here, because these issues have to be solved. Then when funding comes, you can be successful. And there's a reason why I've removed funding out of the 4 major challenges, because funding is the 5th one. And I believe that now Africa is very ready in the gaming industry to use funding, because the infrastructure, all these things have been fixed one way or the other, or they are being fixed. But 10 years before, when we started, these were very evident. And I could say that no matter how much money a game company had then to scale from Africa, these realities would have still prevented them from faster growth. So at this point, funding into the industry will definitely work, because most of these challenges that I've mentioned Leti Arts and other game studios have blazed a trail and have shown some positivity in the growth in those sectors. So yes, those are the four major challenges. The fifth one is funding, but once funding comes in, we are going to use it to test the markets to see if the infrastructure and all these cultural mindset and everything has been aligned for the companies to do well.
Mm-hmm. So, Eyram, we know each other for a while now, and working with the African game developer community, I understand that monetization as well may be something that the game developer are looking as being a roadblock for them to go into full mode gaming development. Game development. Is there any type of advice or for those game developers, but as well some information that you can bring to the West, I would say, that will allow everybody to really think of solution right now about monetization? And is there actually some solutions that are being thought upon?
Yes, so monetization is always packaged with distribution. So as I mentioned, the fourth challenge was distribution and monetization. That was the whole thing. But monetization now is being fixed because, Africa, as I said, because mobile was Africa was already in the future before the world with mobile phones. We developed very custom ways of transaction on the continent. So we jumped over Visa and all that straight to mobile money. And then we are now adopting the Visa backwards, right? So a lot of countries have mobile money, like Kenya has M-Pesa, Ghana has Momo, and other countries have mobile money that have now been integrated with most of the app stores, like Google Play has mobile money payments, Apple Store, App Store too now has all those payments integrated. So you can build your game and still now monetize it one way or the other. But the issue here about monetizing on app stores is that your game has to meet a certain quality to compete with all the millions of quality games out there. And as I mentioned, the skill set, the cultural mindset, and all that, we are still getting there. There are some really great games coming up from the continent, all right, but we want to get to the point where we are able to monetize genuinely and not get sympathy downloads and sympathy payments, but actually other games globally. So
for a game to be viral, like
exactly.
Not because it's coming from Africa.
Exactly, not because it's coming from Africa. So that is with App Store monetization. Then there's the other monetization, which is the local telecom monetization. So the telecom companies have been working for over the past 20 years on the continent, and they've been making money through voice, SMS, and they are now bringing in data. And data comes with value-added services, which is content, right? So they are hungry for digital content.
Yeah.
Most telcos, and that is where the big opportunity is, right? So the local monetizing avenue with local telecom companies, pitching games to them because they might be in the best position to drive our local games to the people, which adds value to the calls that they make, to the text that they make. That is why betting has become one of the biggest avenues of making money on the continent. But trust me, all those monies are going outside the continent. So local gaming companies, betting is not gaming, but I'm just using that. That is lottery has caught on, but our form of gaming, which is game development, is now growing gradually. So long as lottery is making some strides through data apps, we can also start monetizing the games that we play. For instance, Leti Arts, we have some partnerships with MTN in Ghana, and also about scaling across Africa with a trivia game that we built called MTN Hot Seat. And And I checked recently, we have over 100,000 registered phone numbers in our database, with a percentage about almost 20% of that being subscribers or who have ever subscribed. So as much as the subscription may be very low and gradually increasing, it's still generating some kind of revenue, which is promising. So if other studios go that way, that could be a way to monetize as well. Then there's a last bit, which is the consulting, working for hire. So companies pay, like those who do gamification, want to do a game for malaria, make a game for financial literacy. They will pay you to build a game for them. And that is also the last bit.
Sure. I know that there is a lot of studio outside of Africa who actually often are looking for game developer in Africa to one, have this diversity of content, this diversity mentality, culture, but as well to leverage the fact that they will save money, the cheap labor. The last question, I know that we're getting towards the end now. The last questions that I have: what do you think will be the future of gaming in, let's say, 2 years?
Yes, I've been a prophet in my book that I wrote, right? And when I was writing, I wrote the past, the present, and the future of gaming on the continent. And the future is actually happening now, right? And in the past, we all gathered around one console, one person, one cool kid who have a PlayStation or who have a computer, and you all gather and watch the person play. Then in the present, people started getting phones and stuff like that, and they were playing games themselves, right? Now, in the near future, which is the 2 years that you've quoted, now those games that people are playing would not be foreign games. They will not be Candy Crush. There will be Kwekwanansi story, right? There will be a lot more local content made for them, right? The next 2 years. And that is the reason why I said that more game companies are springing up, more indie developers are springing up. Companies like Epic Games, Unity, Microsoft, all these guys are pushing towards the continent to provide skill sets so that they can make content for these operating systems. So these are going to spring up very quickly, right? Corporate organizations are also investing heavily in games because of this COVID. COVID was an accelerator to digital literacy, right? So I'm sure board was just sitting there and said, "Oh, Africa, you guys are too slow to adopt the technology. COVID, you go." And when COVID came, okay, everyone learn to use email, learn to use your phones to do stuff. So yeah, exactly. Everyone now knows how to do use the tech. So a lot of consumption of digital products is going to happen, and the gaming space is going to benefit a lot, because we are going to imagine every Nigerian film that has been made is now going to have its comic and video game. Every Ghanaian movie, every African movie is now going to have its T-shirt, its merchandise, its toys. There's a whole big future around the gaming industry. So in the next 2 years, expect a boom in the industry, more consumption of local content. We will start also reporting our consumption, and then partnerships with studios. Like, studios will be coming together to work together to make better games. And that has started because even us and Malio in Nigeria, Kefo in Kenya, in Senegal, yes, we are also trying to come together to start making better games, better seek for better funding and stuff like that. So expect a lot of this in the next 2 years, and it's going to.
Sure. So the future is bright for the African game development, and I'm here for that. Really. So, viewers, thank you. Actually, Eyram, thank you for your time and for your knowledge. What I'm going to do, if you can send me the link, the Amazon, is your book available on Amazon?
Yes, it's called Uncompromising Passion.
That would be great if I would be able to put the link in the description box and put as well some information on your 2 or 3 games that are currently available. So Hot Seat and the others. And we will definitely, I hope that we will be able to have you back in a year time or even before to talk more about what's going on and how everything is progressing in the African gaming industry.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time. Viewers, thank you. And it was Johanna, aka Jojo. Bye.
Bye.